everybody. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at our next section for our economics unit in social studies, which is all about circle graphs. Circle graphs are used as a visual representation of survey results, or stores and companies use it to help communicate how much they have sold of a particular item, things like that. We're going to be looking at it a lot for survey results. So the one thing you need to understand that when you're looking at a circle graph is that when you're given data, the information that's given to you here, notice it's in percentages, should always equal 100%. So as you're looking at your data, if for some reason it doesn't add up to 100%, you know that there's something wrong, something missing, or your data isn't valid. All the information that you'll be getting from me to practice this should all equal 100, so that it shouldn't be something that you have to worry about. But just in case, keep an eye out for it. So if you take a look at the example survey question in front of you, it says Mrs. Elliott's class took a survey to find out where the students would like to go for their field trip. And the table shows the results of the survey. Now, obviously, if we had a ton of money and we could take a field trip like one of these, that would be amazing. But we can't, so this is totally fictitious. So the survey results came out to be the Imagination Station was 30%, Bob's Boa Barn is 5%, Casey's Cookie Factory is 10%, and Sky Zone is 55%. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this information and we are going to fill it into the circle graph that is down on the bottom part of the page, which I'm going to have to flip over. So this is the circle graph that's on the bottom. I want to explain how it's set up before we actually start filling in that graph information. So as you see, looking at the circle graph, there are small pie pieces inserted all the way around, creating the circle. And if you count how many pie pieces there are, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 smaller pie pieces creating our circle. And then within a single pie piece, it's also divvied up into sections. If you go through and count, there's 5 is the long one in between, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 over here. So each of the 10 sections is then broken up into 10 even smaller sections. So 10 larger sections with 10 smaller sections inside, that adds up to 100, which is where the 100% comes from that I mentioned earlier. So it's really pretty easy. Because of the 100% and the circle equaling 100, then the graphing part is really simple. So you're going to start by taking a color. It doesn't matter which color you choose. And you're going to use that color to represent the first part of our data. So the first part, again, the Imagination Station was 30%. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to outline 3 of those pie pieces. Since each of them are 10, 3 of them would be 30. Now you obviously can do this a little bit neater than I can on your paper. Outline it and then color it in. Feel free to pause the video at any point if you need to, so you can get everything colored in. You're going to notice in the directions it says be sure to include a title and labels. So we'll come back and do the title when we're done, but the labels we're going to do as we color in each section. So since this one was the Imagination Station, we're going to write that out here. Abbreviate that a little bit. And then that was 30%. So we're going to make sure we label it with the 30%. All right, now I'm going to go back. Let's see here. Bob's Boa Barn. Sounds dangerous. Got 5% of the votes. So then we'll go back to our table. And 5% is just going to be half of one of the pie pieces. So it really doesn't matter which side you shade in. I just am choosing to do the top. So we'll shade this in for the 5%. And then again, we need a label. Not a ton of room on this one. So I'm just going to put BB barn for Bob's Boa Barn. And then 5% after that. Again, pause the video when you need to. All right, going back. The next one we have is Casey's Cookie Factory. Switch colors here. So Casey's Cookie Factory got 10% of our votes. So I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to go to the other side of my imagination station and color in 10. That's one large pie piece. There we go. And Casey's Cookie Factory. Again, I'm abbreviating because of space. And that was 10%. And the last one has us with Sky Zone, and it shows, let's go green, it shows 55% of the votes. So going back, since that's the last category, then all of the white space should add up to 55%. Just going to double check that. So here's one big pie piece, that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then we still have half of that other pie piece, which would be 55. So that was perfect. So as long as you did all your shading correctly, the last piece of information you shade in should be the easiest. Again, color that in. Feel free to color it in solid. It's not as easy for me to do that on the iPad. Okay, and then we label Sky Zone at 55%. All right, and then the last thing, like I said, we need to do is include that title. Title is a big one. It may not seem like it, but you always want to make sure you are communicating what your circle graph is representing. So this in particular were the field trip options for our class. So I don't have a lot of room for my title. I'm just going to go over here and write field trip survey. Okay, and there's my title. All right, so hopefully you guys got all that down and understand where all those numbers were coming from. Like I said, the pie graphs or the circle graphs are all laid out very neatly, so it's easy to count up and make sure that you're filling in the correct space. So pause if you need to. Otherwise, when you're finished, go ahead and grab the practice page that's up in the basket on the bookshelf and get to work. So let me know if you have any questions.